Hello everyone, well here's a blast from the past. In fact, I had to go back and check on my channel how long ago it was that I unboxed this Ensign Stealth 1, which is basically a Sebo automatic X1 rebadged for Johnson Diversey. So amazingly, it was nearly, at the time of making the video, it was nearly 7 years ago that I unboxed this cleaner, and I don't think I've looked at it since I popped it back in the box, because when it arrived it was faulty. So today, finally, I'm going to see if I can fix the fault. But first of all, I'm going to switch this machine on and see if miraculously, after 7 years in storage, the fault has corrected itself. If you haven't seen the unboxing, I do suggest that you check my back catalogue, because if you're new to my channel, you'll see that there are, well, I don't know, it's over 1,000 videos that I've uploaded all these years. So let's get on with it. First of all, I'll switch this machine on and we'll see what the fault is. Now, if you're familiar with Sebo automatic X series vacuum cleaners, you'll know that they've got a computer sensor inside that raises and lowers the cleaner head according to the pile of carpet you're cleaning or the floor, whatever. So what this does, it senses the resistance of the brush roll. If there's too much resistance, for example, if this was set too low on a deeper pile carpet, then the computer would sense that and it would raise the brush height. And it does that not by raising the brushes, but by moving this little wheel up and down. So what I believe is wrong with this cleaner, it just doesn't do anything. It doesn't move up and down. And I think what I might have done, I think I disconnected something inside, so it just stayed on the lowest setting, because I think it was just on a high setting. So I can use this machine if it was just on low pile carpet. Okay, so I'll switch it on, just check. Well, there will be a bag inside, otherwise the bag door wouldn't close. And it's that old. I've still got a paper bag. Obviously Sebo have gone on to the fabric bags now, but it has got dirt in it, so I have been able to use this machine. It's not going to work very well on this carpet though, because this is a plush pile, but let's give it a go. Well, actually that works fine, and it'll be fine to use as long as all your carpets are fairly low, because I'm sure, I can't remember what I did, I'll have to open it up. But really, I want this to work as it should, and obviously I tried fault finding, I got some hints and tips off the internet, and still couldn't get it to work. So shortly after getting this, I obtained this, and again I've shown this on my channel as well. This came from a notorious eBay seller that sells a lot of junk, that and somebody quoted or commented under the video it looked like it'd been pulled out of the bottom of a pond, and it did when I first got it. It's got a bit dirtier now because it's been in storage, but it was a lot dirtier than this. So basically this is the standard Sebo automatic X1 cleaner head, which is basically identical, apart from the colour, to the Ensign Stealth. So first thing to do, I'm going to put the body of the Ensign, I'll just unplug it first, or switch it off at the wall, and I'll remove the cleaner head, the faulty cleaner head, which we can do by pressing on this button and pulling up. There we go, hang on. There we are. So now you can put the faulty head to one side and take this. I'm assuming it worked. I think I did do this before. I think that's in. Yep, that's in. I'll switch it back on. It looks a bit odd now, doesn't it? Okay, so now this should work as it should with the height adjustment functioning. Well, the red flashing light is indicating that the brush roll has been jammed, but basically it's because I've switched it on this low pile carpet and it hasn't adjusted itself quick enough. So what I think I'll do is switch the machine on again, but I'll raise the brush off the carpet, and hopefully the little servo motor will make the central wheel lower a bit so it raises the height of the cleaner head. Well, that seems to work okay. The brush roller didn't seem to lower at all when I was using the machine. It does tend to skim across the top of the pile, as the earlier X series tended to do. The newer Sebo X series, they do go a little bit deeper into the pile. They are more satisfactory to use, in my opinion anyway, and especially if you have a boost model where it just allows the brush to stay lowered just that little bit deeper, so you are feeling that you're getting a bit of a deeper clean. There's nothing wrong with the performance of these cleaners, even when they feel like they're skimming, but for me and for other people who have used these, they feel like they're not doing the job because they're so easy to push, but the proof of the pudding is in the dust bag when you actually see the amount of dirt. Okay, so I've got both floor heads side to side. This is the Ensign Stealth with the hood removed, showing all the computerized gubbins and the belts. And to access this, I'll show you on the X1. There are 4 screws. This should look more or less identical inside because basically it is the same. So there's 1 screw there. Now I think the first thing I'm going to try is I'm going to swap over the servo motor, and this is the actual small motor that raises and lowers the middle wheel in order to raise and lower the height of the cleaner head. I do have an electric screwdriver or a cordless drill with a screwdriver function. I could be using that, but I'll try and remember for next time. So there are 4 screws, and I think they're all the same size, so it doesn't matter if you get them mixed up. They all, doesn't matter if one goes into the other hole, it doesn't matter because they should be the same. I think that's enough. Or is it? No, not quite. Just got to undo this one. I know that one is out. Something's stopping it from opening. I think they're all undone actually, so why aren't you opening up? Here we go, that's it. Hang on. Okay, so there's the motor hood, and as we can see, more or less the same. Now what I'm going to do is have, yes, you see there's some problems, and this one's fine. Sometimes problems can be caused just in here. See if you can see. There's a little magnet. And that, well, it should be in this one as well. Yeah, little magnet here. Now, that magnet is a little sensor. So if the magnets come loose, then you'll find that you're not getting the correct height adjustment. I think the magnet is more there to sense when the handle is in the upright position, because when you put the handle in the upright position, if the machine's switched on, then the cleaner head will automatically raise, and if you leave it switched on, it will raise all the way to the highest position, which is what I tended to do before putting the cleaner away, because then it's stored with the brushes raised off the floor. So if you're not using it for some time, it means that the brushes underneath don't get distorted. So just looking at these two almost identical machines, it's very hard to do any fault finding. I mean, if there's a fault with the circuit board, I can't just check that by looking, unless of course you see any blackened areas if I was to unscrew that. And the same, it's everything more or less. There are a few tiny differences. This has got a little clip here to hold the ribbon cable, and this one hasn't. So I think the best thing to do, the most obvious thing to exchange to start, is the servo motor. So if I take the X1 body, which we know is correctly working more or less, and undo 2 more screws. It's slightly rusted. I'll use the screws from the Ensign and not use these rustier screws from this used part. That's 2 screws. I should, hopefully. I might need a screwdriver to help me lever it out. There we go. So well, I won't discard, I'll put that wheel to one side. I'll give this shaft a bit of a clean up, and I'll use the wheel from the Ensign. So obviously, before we can remove the servo motor, we need to see where it's connected. Well, that's... oh, no, that is straightforward. You see here, there is a little... I think it should just pull out. Yes. Very simple, hopefully. He says, yes, that is simple. So there you go. If your Sebo servo motor fails, and it's just a tiny little motor, look. You can buy these as a complete part, and so easy to fit. Very easy to service. Okay, I'll just clean up the shaft of that, swap it over with the one in the Ensign, and see, fingers crossed, if that's the problem. Okay, so I've got the replacement servo motor. I'll put the original wheel back, feed the ribbon cable through, making sure we don't trap any of the cable. Let's double check on the other side that it's coming through. There we go, that's it. Well, it would be marvellous if this is the only problem. There are a couple of other major components I could swap over to see. And once I find which component is faulty, I will probably just buy a new one, because I don't know how long these are going to last from the second-hand X1. So there we go, that's in position. And then it should be just a case now of carefully plugging in the ribbon cable. That's it. Okay, well, I'm going to try the cleaner with the motor hood off. So obviously now I've got to put the bag unit back in place, otherwise it's not going to switch on. Okay, here goes. Let's switch the machine on, see if any of these lights illuminate. Well, I think we can eliminate the servo motor for the height adjustment, because when you switch the machine on in the upright position, the servo motor should actually activate and raise the height, and nothing was moving, so we can say it's nothing to do with that. So I did notice, and it's hard to tell with the bright lights, but these 2 red lights were flashing. So I'll see if I can swap over what they call the motherboard, see if that's the problem. The only other thing I can think of swapping over is this gubbins. I'm not sure what it is, but I'm calling it gubbins at the side. But first, I'm going to leave the old servo motor in for now, and I'll swap the next major component if I can, the circuit board here. Okie dokie folks, well, I've removed the circuit board from the X1. very simple job, just 2 small Phillips screws, a couple of washers, and of course I had to disconnect the ribbon cable from here. This connection here, the red connection, the front red connection, that's the one that goes to the servo motor. While I had this out, I sprayed it with some of this fast drying contact cleaner that's ideal for electronics, and it just, if something doesn't work, especially if it's switch or circuit board, I tend to grab this first, give it a good spray, let it dry, and then hope for the best. Sometimes I have fixed problems just by using this. So I've cleaned this up a bit, but then it occurred to me, well, maybe just spraying this on will fix this. Well, we would be lucky if that was the case. But I think first I will disconnect it, and then I'll just have a look at the underside, and then we'll be able to see if there are any obvious breaks in the circuit, any blackened areas that could indicate a problem. Put that to one side. Now if you're doing anything fiddly like this, if you're working on anything, not just a vacuum, bright lighting is essential. I've obviously got 2 big studio lights on at the moment because I'm showing you what I'm doing. But if I was doing this, you know, just without videoing it, I also would have some sort of a light, even a sort of a adjustable lamp, just to show you what you're doing. You don't want to be doing this in a dark area. Well, I mean, I'm, you know, pretty much ignorant when it comes to anything like this, but that looks okay. I mean, it's a different colour, but there are no visible signs of sort of any damage. And again, yeah, can't see anything that would indicate a problem. So this is the one from the donor machine. What I'll do with this though, just while I've got it out, I'll give it a bit of a squirt with the old contact cleaner. Get the excess off. Now it says it's fast drying, but obviously you don't want to be putting this back until, you know, it is bone dry. You don't want to be connecting any power to this. So I'll leave that to one side. As I said, this has been sprayed earlier, so it has dried. So we can now connect it up exactly the same way, like this. There we are, and then position it. There we go, and back goes the 2 screws. I've left the bag housing in place so I can plug the machine back in and test it straight away. You know, I have a strange feeling that I've tried this before years ago and then gave up. I mean, the only other thing I can do is just swap everything over. I think I even had the motor cover off. But obviously the motor sounds fine in this. Everything works apart from the electronic height control. Okay, well that's all connected up. Let's give it another go. Well folks, I think we have solved the problem. Now the red light, as you can see, is flashing, but that's indicating that the brush hole has been obstructed by my deep pile carpet. One other thing I can check just to see if everything works, if I block the machine off, the bag check indicator light will illuminate, and then after about 30 seconds the cleaner should switch itself off. Well, I think I've cured the problem using the replacement circuit board. I'm not going to buy another one of these because I think it'll be fine. If it was the servo motor that had been faulty, I probably would have bought a new one. They don't cost much. I think, well, the last time I checked anyway, they were about £30. I don't know how much they are now. But I'm going to put everything back together. I'm going to put the new servo motor back and try it all again, put the hood on, and hopefully after 7 years of this being stuck in its box, I fixed the problem. Okay, everything's back together. I'm just going to switch the machine on in the upright position. Hopefully it won't cut out before the servo motor has a chance to raise the front of the head, because I think it's going to be too low at the moment for this carpet, and it might switch off the brush roll as it did previously with the donor cleaner head. Okay, here goes. Well, at least something's working. It's doing what the donor head did. It's flashing the red light over the brush roll symbol. So what I think I'm going to have to do is help it along initially. It's just down to this, I can hardly push it. It's down to this carpet rather than the machine itself, I think. So I'll switch it off and then reset. I'm not sure it's working, and I can see the brush roll green light, the up light illuminating, but it seems to be taking its sweet time. But again, I think it could be down to the pile of the carpet. So I'll pop into the hall where we've got the standard low pile carpet, and it should start to lower the brush. It's working better than it did before with the replacement circuit board, but it's taking too long to adjust up and down. It still cuts off. I mean, they are fairly slow to respond, but not this slow. So one last attempt. We'll try. I'm going to have to take the bag unit back off. I'm going to have to open this up again. Oh no, I'm not actually going to have to open the full thing up again. All I have to do, in fact, I needn't have taken the bag. Oh no, I do have to open it up. Yes, I do, because I need to unplug. So this is the servo motor that supplied with this machine. So I'm just as a last ditch attempt, I'm going to put the replacement, or the donor motor in, because who knows, it could be a combination of two problems. It's funny because of course the donor head worked okay as it was when connected to the body of the Ensign model. That should be enough. There we go. Unplug again. It's got quite warm now. It's not overly warm. Take out this again. I'll keep the same screws, and I'll keep the wheel. from the newer one. Out that comes, and back goes the old servo motor. Before you screw anything up, you just got to make sure that the ribbon cable has poked its way through and there's nothing trapped. There we go. So we'll try it one last time, and then, well, if that doesn't work, I'm a bit flummoxed. The only other thing to do, as I've said, and I'll do this off camera, is just swap everything. Swap all the internal component parts, keep the nice new exterior. I think the motor, I don't think it's a motor issue, because the motor sounds as it should. Make sure that's plugged in. Oops. There we go. Right, well, I'll put this back. One last attempt for this video anyway. If this doesn't work, obviously, please comment below if you have any idea what else I can try, apart from swapping everything. You've seen the parts I have swapped. Come on. Doesn't want to go in place. Hang on. There we are. I think that's... Yes, there we go. That's in position. Okay, I'll just do up the 4 screws. There you go. See what I'm doing now? I'll do up the 4 screws. Connect it back up, and I'll give it one last try. Well, nothing is happening because I think it needs to be on its highest setting for this carpet, so I'll just again check it on the low pile in the hall. Well, I think that's all I can do in this video. I mean, it's working better than it did at the start. The cleaner head is moving up and down to a fashion. The bag check light seems to work. It cuts off the motor after about 30 seconds. And the brush roll mechanism to stop the brush roll rotating if it feels too much resistance, that works. That switches the machine off. It's just the up and down motion. It just seems a bit sluggish, but perhaps that's how it is. I can't remember. I'm used to using the newer X7 now, which seems to be a bit faster in its responses, and it tends to stay put. You know, it doesn't adjust itself constantly like the previous generation, which obviously the Ensign Stealth 1 is based on the X1, sort of the first, not the first Sebo cleaner, but the first of the X series anyway. Well, I think I'll leave it there. If you've got any suggestions or comments or advice, let me know in the comments section. Yes, I know that needs replacing, as you can see. Although this cleaner was more or less new when I bought it, we can see now a bit of carbon dust. That needs, I've got another one of those. That's discoloured. That's normally should be white, and with age it's gone yellow. so I can just get a new one of those, but that won't be causing any problems just because it's discoloured. It's not blocked. And there's nothing wrong with the motor and the airflow. It's just, you know, so much simpler to have a nice dial on the side like the Essential G that I've shown you on my channel again ages ago. I've still got that somewhere. Much rather have a dial or some sort of control to manually adjust the height, just like the Sebo Felix as well, or the powerhead on Sebo powerhead cylinders. Anyway, that's it. I'll pop this away for another 7 years and then maybe have another look at it if we're all still here in 7 years' time. Fingers crossed we will be. Until then, I might not be here, but you may be, but I'll see you all very soon. Again, comment and subscribe, please, if you haven't subscribed already. And I'll see you all very soon for the next video. Bye for now.